Hey everyone, Braden here, and today I'm doing a very special video, 10 years in the making, but if you want to be like realistic, it was more like 3 years in the making because I just got into music 3 years ago and I was like 9 in 2010. Irregardless, here are my top 50 albums of the decade, and I want to preface with some super duper special honorable mentions. And usually honorable mentions are like, well, it didn't make the cut. These would have like hella made the cut. However, I am only human and I cannot listen to every album. Right now I'm going to try to throw up some albums that I didn't get around to that people might be pissed at me for not including. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm only human. So I want to give two very, very, very special honorable mentions. Number one, the most important, would be Joanna Newsom's Have One On Me. Yeast is one of my favorite albums of all time. This thing is effing gargantuan. It's 3 discs and like I believe it's like 2.5 hours long. I am only human. I cannot really digest this. Like I will reiterate, I cannot, just it's so verbose. It's not like a Swans album where a lot of it's atmospheric and stuff. Like this is just dense poetry and luscious ornamental orchestration. It's really, really hard to digest. I really want to get more into that album. I know it will be an all-time favorite. If I'm being honest, it would probably be at least in the top 20, 15 had I given it the time it deserves, but I'm a busy man. Second special shout out, a little less special, but it definitely would have made this list had I given it more time to digest and marinate, is The Knife's Shaking the Habitual. This is the most fucking ridiculous album I've ever heard, and I don't even know how to think about it. I've given it one listen, and I will surely give it many more. But I thought it would be disingenuous to put albums that I've only listened to like once on here. So, without all of those amazing albums included in this list, let's get into my real, meaty, super delicious top 50. I'm just gonna run by some. I might have a little bullet points, like, oh, this is what I thought about this album. But by the time I get to like 25, and especially 10, I'll get more into. Let's kick things off with number 50, Nails, Unsilent Death. Number 49, Idols, Brutalism. Number 48, Caro Caro Bonito, Bonito Generation. Super fun and cheery and amazing. Number 47, James Blake, Self-Titled. Number 46, Black Dresses, Love and Affection for Stupid Little B-Words. I have a link to this review somewhere in the description because that was one of the records I actually did get around to doing a full review for. Number 45 is Ice Age, Plowing Through the Fields of Love. Great post-punk record. Number 44, we have Tame Impala's Lonerism. Number 43 is Weezer's The White Album, an extremely, extremely underrated record that stands firmly among their best with Blue and Pinkerton, and it is a blast. Number 42, we have Brockhampton's Saturation 2, which is the best of the trilogy. Don't let anyone tell you it's 3 because they're wrong and ugly. Number 41, we have Proto-Martyr, Relatives in Descent, one of the most gorgeously precocious and amazing post-punk records released this decade. Number 40, Blade, Ever Since. Yes, I am an e-boy. Number 39, my supreme pick for most underrated album of the decade, Tampa Beats, Harbor. This is 30 minutes of flawless, perfect, ambient, lo-fi hip-hop that is legitimately a great album, and I encourage you to listen to this. Number 38, The Brave Little Abacus. Just got back from the discomfort. We're all right. This thing is a playground of Midwest emo and rock and experimental rockisms and electronica. Number 37, Shoo Shoo's Girl with Basket of Fruit. Number 36, The Boys Come Back, My Bloody Valentine's, MBV. It's kind of self-titled. Number 35, Vector, Terminal Redux. This is basically like a thrash metal opera, sci-fi, postmodern thing, and it's criminally underrated. Number 34, FKA Twigs, LP1. It's better than Magdalene. Number 33 is Sun Kill Moon's Benji, which is super heartwarming and sad and depressive, and I honestly understand why people don't like this, but it is very, very close to me. 32 is Deaf Heaven's Sunbather, the soy boy black metal pick, but it really is great. Dreamhouse and The Pecan Tree are two of the best songs of the decade, and if you haven't heard it, what are you doing? It's amazing. Number 31, Big Thief, UFOF. Incredible, transcendental, psychedelic folk. deliberated between putting that or Capacity, but you know, I eventually decided that UFOF was the way to go. It grabbed my attention for the most. Number 30 is the electronic, dancey, but still kind of sad LCD sound system, This Is Happening. It's better than Sound of Silver, and Dance Yourself Clean is one of the best songs of all fucking time. Number 29, The Haunting, The Velvet Underground Reminiscent. My most recent album I got into on this list is Women, Public Stream. It's that good. Please listen to it. It is amazing. Number 28 is Arm & Hammer's Paraffin, which in my opinion should go down in the canon of the best collaboration hip-hop records of all time. The production is psychedelic but dark, and Billy Woods and Ulysses, I don't know how to say words, but it is incredible and it deserves all of your time. Number 27, Standing on the Corner, Redburns. This is like post-jazz, hip-hop, electronic, everything. It's very hypnagogic and incredible, and it's just these two chunks of nostalgia and reminiscence, and it makes me feel all tingly in a way I can't really describe. Number 26, Lingua Ignota, Caligula. Yeah. Now that we are in the top 25, it's the home stretch. It really is. From pretty much here on out, if every record before this was amazing, these are masterful. Number 25 is Against All Logic, 2012 to 2017. This album got me and I think many other people into house music. It is just super, super fun and textured and enjoyable, and I really cannot give Nicholas Jar enough praise for this album. Number 24 is Wise Blood's Titanic Rising, one of my favorite records of this past year, and a truly classic pop record that really reminds me a lot of Joni Mitchell's Blue, and I think that this will go down in the canon of just great female songwriter albums. Number 23, this might be a little controversial to some, but Danny Brown's Triple X, I think it's better than Atrocity Exhibition. It's got a more fun mixtape vibe to it, and while I wasn't crazy about all the sonic detours on Atrocity Exhibition, it has some perfect songs on that album. I think this is the Danny Brown album that sticks out the most to me. Number 22, in fucking incredible and transcendental and dark and eerie, Tim Hecker's Virgins, amazing ambient drone album. I cannot sing its praises enough. I love Tim Hecker, and I think he's one of the best artists of the decade. Number 21, Charlie XCX's Pop 2. This thing is a match made in heaven. It is really the future of pop. It fits its name. Number 20, we have Destroyers, Kaput. This is the most eloquent and precocious and pretentious pop music probably I've ever heard, but it just really, it's some college student jams. That's the best way I can put it. It's great. Great performances, great songwriting. It makes me feel like I'm in like the saddest little coffee shop in the world. Number 19, Tyler the Creator's Flower Boy. I know I have Igor there, and I originally thought Igor was better, but come on, Flower Boy, it just touches me a lot more. Number 18, Earl Sweatshirt's some rap songs. You know, I kind of deliberated between this and I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside. Soulless is also great. I almost might even put that over both of these records, but it's an EP. But really, just it's Earl further proving that not only does he have a great penmanship and tongue, but he has some of the best production choices and producer chops ever. Great. Number 17, Lil Ugly Mane's Mr. Thug Isolation. This is just like the best music to smoke to in the world, but it's also super catchy and fun and a great ode to Memphis hip hop. Number 16, Ichiko Aoba's Zero? Oh, I'm not sure. I've never really, wondered how to pronounce it because I've been so mystified by her incredible guitar compositions, minimalist production, and whispery voice. Truly an album that deserves all of your time and attention, and Ichiko Aoba is one of my most cherished artists of this decade. Number 15, Beach House 7. It was a bitch picking which Beach House album to put on here. I mean, they've released like at least 3 amazing albums this decade, and 7, I just think this might be kind of not a super popular opinion, but I think it's the furthest exploration of their sound, and it's really great. Number 14, JPEG Mafia's Veteran. If you haven't noticed, there's a lot of 2018 albums on here. That year was incredible, but this is one of the pinnacles of that year for its super left field, left wing, experimental, industrial hip hop. I'm not going to act like this thing is the most cohesive and perfect thing ever, but part of its charm is how erratic it is. JPEG Mafia is really the future of hip-hop, and I think I'm excited to see what he does next in this wonderful decade. Number 13, Playboi Carti's Die Lit. Honestly, just trap perfection. It's so minimal to the point of being psychedelic and fun, and it's a blast. It's really everything you would want from trap music. I know it's kind of a cliche pick for someone of my, taste to hail this as the best trap album, but it really is incredible, and I can't sing its praises enough. Number 12, Freddie Gibbs and Mad Libs, Pinata. I think this album it's one of the most praised albums of the decade, but really, I'm sad I didn't see it on enough year-end lists as high as I'm putting it. I love gangster rap. I always have since I was a child. So to me, it's almost nostalgic in a way. Madlib's production is at an all-time high since Mad Villainy. Freddie Gibbs, I don't know what it is. His solo records are really not that special. But when these two pair up, it is a match made in heaven. And the production literally gives me chills. It's incredible. Number 11, Death Grips, The Money Store. What year-end list would be complete without Death Grips? If we're sheerly talking about best discographies of the decade, I really think they deserve the Academy Award, the Braden Academy Award. And now we are down to the top 10 albums of the decade. And number 10 is Lana Del Rey's Norman fucking Rockwell, which I reviewed not too long ago, and I have since my praise and my love for this record has grown so much more. It is truly one of the best singer-songwriter albums of recent memory, and I think it will go down in the canon of great albums from this decade, especially not only because Lana, at the beginning of her career, crafted a whole new niche of pop music that basically dominated many people's ears for years to come, but she has now come into her own as a quality and entertaining songwriter that speaks so truly about love and femininity in this decade. Number 9, Swans to Be Kind. This record is super duper cosmic and out there and primitive and godly and ethereal and however many adjectives you can think of. It is unlike no other rock record released this decade, and I truly believe it is a pinnacle not only for Swans but for rock music in general. We have some of the most grand and lush but still rough and almost prehistoric, like some caveman banging on some rocks type shit. Like, you can really just vibe with this album. But on a deeper level, I think Jira is waxing poetic, not necessarily in this super prosaic or eloquent way, but I think a lot of just like the simple wordplay in this record, the repetition, just really relays home these themes of godliness and, humanity and the contrast between those things and the similarities. It's amazing. It's so long, but if you really just give yourself the time to let this record really have you, it's so worth it, truly. Number 8, we have Mount Eerie, A Crow Looked at Me, one of the most tragic and honest recollections of death that I've seen in any art form ever. There's not a lot to say, except this record is just like being emotionally gut punched until you're just left there a sobbing, crying mess in your bed. It's amazing, and I'm so glad that Phil seems to be doing better, and he's at another peak in his career. Number 7, we have Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. Probably the most discussed hip-hop album of this decade, the most lauded, the most loved, and I definitely understand why. I initially deliberated on whether I should put Good Kid, Mad City on here, but since I am kind of sticking to not doing repeats, To Pimp a Butterfly it is. I think it has the more dense productions, the more expansive themes. Expansive isn't always better, but I think that not only do you have some recollection and considering of Kendrick Lamar himself as a person, but in the grander scheme of things in issues like race, gentrification, capitalism. I mean, it's very broad, but it's very touching at the same time, and it's honestly the most memorable album of the decade. Number 6, we have Sufjan Stevens, Carrie and Lowell, the warmest yet the coldest, most loving record released this year, but it is tragic in another sense. Recollecting after Sufjan's mother died. It's really sad, but romantic in a sense. Sufjan's, although often pessimistic and sorrowful look at life, there's some sort of hope and liveliness and vitality to be found in his words, even when he's on the edge. This record, while it's a very specific point in Sufjan's life, I think it's just really relatable for anyone that can grasp onto its themes of, how to feel about your parents if, they're not the best, or how to feel just about your family in life. And I think it's really universal in that sense. Number 5 is Mitski's Bury Me at Makeout Creek. To me, this is the quintessential album for the internet age, the Instagram age, the Ruby car age. I think there's something to be found within her simple yet evocative, angry, but, personal, emotional, loving, sorrowful, almost bipolar lyricism and themes on this record. Really just, I don't know how to describe it. It's super special. While I think Mitski has improved so much as an artist with Puberty 2 and Be the Cowboy, which are both incredible records that surely deserve to be on this list, I think this is just a perfect little snapshot of a time in life, and one that has touched me the most with its themes of, just being an adolescent person, being an adult, a young adult, going to work, dealing with tough relationships. And it's presented in such a charmingly personal and, DIY way. I can't help but love it. I know plenty of other people love this record, which, I can't blame them. So please check this out if you haven't already. Number 4, we have Kanye West's Yeezus. In my opinion, a way more true to Kanye album than My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Not only because of the way Kanye lyrically expresses himself, I think it's more true to who he is as an icon and also as a person. Kanye's always just tried to piss people off, and no record he has made since or before has really expressed this like Yeezus, and I think the production truly matches it. There's something to be said about his ruminations on fame with the maximalism of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, but I think I'll take Yeezus any day. It's a tighter package. I think the features are more entertaining. Just more better songs overall. I don't know what to say. It's Kanye. He's a wild card, but, I can't stop listening to this album. It's infinitely creative, and just listen to it. Come on, you probably have. Number 3 is Daughters. You Won't Get What You Want, which is kind of a lie, because I kind of totally got what I wanted with this album, because not only is it super loud, super raucous, super postmodern and depressing, but strengthening in its own way, but it's just chock full of perfect, noisy songs. I don't know how a band can come back after 8 years and just release a 10 like that. I don't know how that's possible, but it really is it's pretty fucking perfect. It's haunting. It's incredible. It's a miracle it exists, really. Number 2 is Car Seat Headrest's Twin Fantasy, the 2011 Mirror to Mirror version. This album is similar to Bury Me at Makeout Creek in a sense, in that it very much speaks to my demographic, but even truer so, as it is about, a young queer male. To me, this album just is timeless in the way that it expresses these themes. And while I think maybe Teens of Denial and other records that Toledo has made have maybe been a little bit more universal, this one just speaks to me so closely, and I think a lot of people have come to appreciate that, as it's certainly been an icon of indie rock music of the decade, and DIY music as well. I really don't know what I can say to do this justice. Beach Life and Death is my favorite song of all time. I'm just going to be upfront with that. I think it truly shows. You can look at his inspirations from the Beach Boys, Pink Floyd, among other obvious, the Strokes and stuff, and it all comes together in such a compelling way. The longer tracks on this record have such a good flow that you can truly see the progressive rock influence, but I think there's something to be said about, even though this was a home project, the mixing just really works for how noisy and chaotic this is. It's still, understandable and audible, but that rawness definitely touches you in a way that is kind of hard to compare to. I just think it's the perfect encapsulation of a relationship, of young life, and I think all of these themes just really hit me really hard. I love this album so fucking much. I honestly feel like I'm gonna cry talking about it. But yeah, I don't know what else I can say about it. Number one, I'm honestly kind of nervous. You know what it is, but I'm just scared I won't be able to do this record justice, and I surely won't. It's Frank Ocean's Blonde. I adore this record with my entire being. It is maybe my favorite thing that is on this earth and accessible to me as a person. Um, there's every song on this I think has such a perfect place in the album's sequencing. Every feature, even down to the instrumentation, just simple background instruments, is so considered and it fits so perfectly. You know, it might not be as immediate as Channel Orange, but I think that's part of its charm. It just really, you sink into it. I've returned to this album hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and I feel something every time. I cannot tell you how many nights I've spent, and, you know, Nights or any other track on the album has been my blanket, my source of comfort. It means so much to me, and I think it honestly makes me really emotional to see so many other people that feel the same way. It's so universal. Everyone loves it. I mean, I'm part of a Facebook group where people literally just talk about Blonde and how it's touching them at the moment. It's really incredible, and it just makes me glad to have music there and to have, you know, just this culture and this feeling and this thing. It just makes me glad to be alive, to be able to talk about it and experience this with other people and experience these emotions. This is all vague, and, you know, you could say this kind of stuff about any album, but you know I'm talking about Blonde because it's, you know, it's truly a gift. I'm so excited to see what Frank Ocean does next. I'm so excited to see what all of these artists do next. I can't wait. I can't wait to just like keep going and hear more music like this as time goes on. I didn't think I was gonna get this emotional recording this video, but yeah, there's really not that much I can say. I even struggle. I've tried to put together a favorite songs list, and I do have a clear number one. It's Beach Life and Death by Car Seat Headrest, but I always have to pick my number two is like a Frank Ocean song, right? I can't. It could be Godspeed, it could be Nights, it could be Future Free, anything from this album really. Besides like Facebook Story could be an honorable pick, but I just can't. So if that says anything about how much I love this album, I don't know what else to say, really. Thank you guys. I love you guys all so much for watching. Thank you for sticking with me through how jaunty I am with my uploads and how I switch between doing blogs and videos. I really appreciate you guys. But yeah, so I'll see you guys whenever I decide to talk to you in this capacity again. So, love you guys.